Sigma male, sigma male, sigma woman, sigma, 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 sigma. Well, it's a social construct or social hierarchy. But then again, you have warrant officer, warrant officer, warrant officer male, warrant officer female. Well, today I want to talk about how that sigma mindset kind of corresponds or correlates to the warrant officer mindset. Stay tuned. And watched YouTube long enough, you've heard of this phrase called sigma male or sigma. It's a social archetype that supposedly revolves around the 6 different social archetypes, which are alpha, omega, beta, delta, and then sigma. I think I got them all. But what I want to talk about today is not just sigma male, but the sigma social archetype itself and how it corresponds or kind of relates to the warrant officer mentality. So I believe, you can have your own beliefs, that this buzzword does play within the warrant officer realm. And I say that like this. I believe that warrant officers do have a lot of these traits. Now I'm speaking about it as a whole within the cohort, because obviously within any group you're still going to have the 5 different hierarchies of social types. But I'm talking about as a whole. Because when you look at the military in general, let me just say the Army, when you have your O grade, your W grade, and your enlisted, those are 3 different cohorts that most likely or do contain all the social types. But I'm going to focus in on just that middle one, the WO, and how the warrant officer side does kind of fit the description majority of the social archetype. So I want to talk about the 10 different ideologies or components that mirror the warrant officer side. And with those you have independence, introversion, self-reliance, confidence, nonconformity, observant, intuition, adaptability, mysteriousness, and leadership. Let's jump right in. Independence. So as you know, warrant officers are very independent. And I'm going to read directly off of what it says that social type is, and then we'll get into it. So here's my list right here. So it says independence. Sigma males are seen as independent thinkers who don't conform to societal norms or expectations. Now, if you're a warrant, you know exactly how this relates to you. But let me put it in layman's terms for everybody else. Warrants are always known to do their own thing in a good way. Warrants don't follow the norm of the regular officer or the regular military norms to get the job done. Warrants do what warrants do. And it might not fit within the confines of what everybody else finds acceptable. But the job gets done and it doesn't break any rules. So when you hear warrants doing warrant things, that's what they're talking about, that right there. The second one, introversion. Introversion. So what it states here, they tend to be introverted, prefer solitude or small circles or small social circles over large gatherings. Now, if you've been around warrants long enough, you notice that warrants usually stick with warrants. Warrants are always solo. A lot of time that's by design because there aren't a lot of warrant officers out there. Warrant officers make up about 3% of the Army. So by design, warrants are more solitude. But if I look at it within, let's say, the signal cyber realm, I'll say warrant officers across the board. Yeah, warrant officers may be vocal, but still they're more, as a majority, more introverted, not in personality, but in what they do. They're called the silent professionals. And that's what they are, the silent professionals. We work in the background to get things done. Number 3, self-reliance. See what it says. Sigma really rely on themselves to get things done and are not easily swayed by the opinions or actions of others. Self-explanatory. That's why warrants are made warrants, because you're a subject matter expert in your field. And a lot of times you're by yourself, so you have to be proficient in what you do to get the job done. You can't rely on anybody else. You can rely on another warrant if you have another one there. That's why you see warrants sticking together a lot, because there's not a lot of warrants. And usually you're by yourself, hence that lone wolf thing. Number 4, confidence. Despite their introverted nature, Sigma males exude confidence in their abilities and decisions. And it says Sigma males, but I'm saying Sigmas as a whole. The confidence side. You're by yourself. You're all alone. You have to get the job done. You're on a mission. You might have a small team of enlisted that are working with you. But you have to have the confidence to stand up for what you believe is right. Morally, ethically, and technically. You're the commander's right-hand man, his technical advisor within that field. If it's signal, you're the signal warrant, you tell him what needs to be done on that side. If you're, the transportation officer, you'll tell him what has to be done to man these routes so they get these vehicles up and running. But you have to be confident in your ability. So you have to be proficient in your ability. That's where the confidence rolls in, the similarity. Number 6, observant. Sigma males are keen observers of their surroundings, allowing them to navigate social situations with ease. By yourself. I keep repeating the same phrase, you're by yourself. But yes, warrants do have to be aware of their surroundings. Every soldier does. But with the warrant, you don't know who you're going to be around. You could be around, or you could be called upon to brief your general, to brief your commander, to go talk to the civilians, to go talk to this one, to go help the general, to go help the civilian, and to carry yourself in a military manner at all times. So warrants are always observant across the board and try to look to see how they can better or embetter the process. Number 7, intuition. They trust their instincts and intuition when making decisions rather than relying solely on logic or reason. Warrants are known for thinking outside the box because something inside told them that this is the way to do it. Then this falls back on being proficient in your craft. That's why a lot of people become warrants, because they want to be the expert in their craft. They're so, what's the word I'm looking for? So ingrained in their profession that they want to dig deep into it and go down the rabbit hole, which makes them very technical in what they do. So having that intuition, that gut feeling that something is right or something isn't wrong, is something that warrants do notice and do play upon. Number 8, adaptability. Big one. Sigma males are adaptable to different environments and situations, thriving in dynamic and unpredictable circumstances. Warrants are very adaptable. Very, very, very adaptable in their situations. Because, let's say if you're on a brigade level, you're the brigade warrant officer. So you support your battalion and your company. All your down traces, you support. So if someone on the company level, so you could have a brigade that has 3 battalions that might have 30 companies underneath it. If you have to go visit that company commander on company A and go work with either their NCOs, or if they have a warrant, usually they don't, or if they have a warrant, you have to be adaptable, or be able to adapt to your environment, just to be able to relay and help out. Another part of that is to be able to adapt to the environment because you're going to be amidst high-level leaders on the O side and the enlisted side. And you have to conform or adapt to that environment. Yes, you're not an O grade. Yes, you're not an E in enlisted side. You're a warrant. I want to say you kind of play both sides, but you're still yourself. Number 9, mysteriousness. They tend to be enigmatic and mysterious, leaving others intrigued by their demeanor and actions. What's so funny is warrants are always called unicorns because there aren't many of them or of us. You rarely see warrants. As a matter of fact, as a lower enlisted, you may never even talk to a warrant, but you know they exist. You've heard of warrants. You may never shake hands or see one, and if you do see one, you might see a W1 or a CW2. You rarely see a CW5. That's a unicorn among unicorns. So the mysteriousness does really play into effect because a lot of people don't know what warrant officers do. Sometimes commanders don't even know how to use warrant officers, but we're there and we advise and we execute. They don't know how we do it because of the craft. The commanders might not be versed in what we do. So therefore, no one knows what warrant officers do. Sometimes warrant officers just show up, and sometimes they disappear. Sometimes it's called black dot ops because we had the dots. Or Operation Invisible Mission because we're invisible ops because you rarely see warrant officers. But when everything's working, there's no need to be there. When something's broken or needs to be built, the warrant officer's there. So it is a very mysterious cohort. And let's hit this last but not least, number 10. Leadership. While not seeking traditional leadership roles, Sigma males often find themselves leading by example or influencing others through their actions rather than explicit authority. That sounds like a warrant. Warrants are teachers, instructors, informers. We lead by example. We're not in the front to take charge as if the O grade would. But then again, we're the silent alpha. We can do what they do. Just that our position is different. Can we take lead and be the alpha when need be? Yes. Do we have leadership or exude leadership principles? Yes. A lot of enlisted, from lower to higher enlisted, look up to warrant officers. I've noticed it. And so you have to set the example. And when you're leading them, you have to lead by example. So I wanted to go over the 10 lines of the social hierarchy of the Sigma trait and how it corresponds to warrant officers in general. I want to leave this open for warrants that see this. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like, let everybody know how you feel about this. Good, bad, or indifferent. I don't care. A lot of times I leave it open for you guys to talk in the comments anyway because I don't have all the knowledge. But when you have other people building and feeding and talking amongst themselves, everybody bounces ideas off each other, so we all learn. But that's what I firmly believe. Like, the warrant officer cohort resembles more of the Sigma. And I say Sigma because we have female warrant officers too. So I say Sigma as a whole. That whole social hierarchy, that construct. But that's enough about that. We do have alphas within our cohort. We do have betas. We do have omegas. But we're just talking about Sigma today. So leave, like, subscribe if you want to see more of this content. And until the next time, peace. stay dangerous.